Looks like a two-horse race over in the Championship as Norwich and Swansea break away from the chasing pack. But what's going to happen this week in a double match week? We'll take a little look next. Prediction show today. We'll take a look at match number 25 and the Championship, and we'll get to that. Oh yes, we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new to the channel, stop what you're doing, swallow what you're doing, and subscribe. Get your bang up today with all things Championship related, Blackburn Rovers related. Woo! Football, what are we going to do here? Rooski, of course, not the best week for Rovers, of course. Can't really do anything right at the moment. But, of course, big week for, of course, the current leaders, Norwich and Swansea, winning with the chasing pack, not doing very, very well. We'll take a look at that in a minute. I want a big shout out to the Patreons. You know who you are, the VIP exclusive members of the gang. Of course, support the channel behind the bloody scenes. Thank you very, very much for your continued support. And if anyone else is out there who wants to support the chasing pack and become the latest member of the Brotherhood, check out the link down below, patreon.com/Roverseas. So let's get into it, of course, and take a look at how we all got on, like me and you, and then, of course, let's take a look at, of course, the overall prediction league. Let's get into it. So kicking us all the way back to, when was it? Tuesday, the 12th of January. It was a 1-1 draw between Bournemouth and Millwall. The goals coming from Dominic Solanke for Bournemouth, Matt Smith for Millwall in a points split right down the middle. Actually, with a 2-1 win for Bournemouth. Shame on me. Meanwhile, Luton Town did lose to QPR. Charlie Austin scoring on his return to QPR. And also Macaulay Bond scores goals whenever he wants. Good signing for him for QPR in a 2-0 win. Actually, I'm a 2-0 going in favour of Luton. Shame on me. Coventry against Sheffield Wednesday was postponed. Actually, went with a 2-1 win for Coventry. And also QPR against Wickham was postponed. Actually, went with a 2-2 draw on that one. But again, we'll have to wait and see about that whenever that comes back around again. No, meanwhile, Middlesbrough against Birmingham ended up as a 1-0 win in favour of Karanka. Karanka's boys getting Birmingham the big fat W2 1-0 win in the end. I actually went with a 3-0 win for Middlesbrough. Scotty Hogan scores when he wants, of course, and he scored today. Scored that match anyway with a 1-0 win. Meanwhile, another surprise was Bournemouth shock defeat to Luton Town at home at the Vitality. 1-0 win. Kieran and Dewsbury Hall on the score sheet for Luton. Justin Lowen got himself sent off, which made matters a little bit easier for Luton, but they got the points, and that is a valuable win for them. Meanwhile, of course, the shocker of the weekend was down at Ewood Park in a 1-1 draw between Rovers and Stoke. Nick Power scored for Stoke, as he bloody does. And upset John Buckley to equalise before Charlie Chester, aka James Chester, got himself sent off for Stoke to make matters a little easier, but unfortunately Rovers could not take advantage of it. Meanwhile, Bristol City took care of the Money Boys. Preston 2-0 win in the end. Fama Diadaru on the score sheet and Zach Viner getting the goals for Bristol City. One in the first half early doors and one in the second half late doors to give them themselves 2-0 win. I actually went with a 2-1 win for Preston, but shame on me. Cardiff against Norwich ended up as a 2-1 win for Norwich. Grant Hanley and Tom Cantwell on the score sheet for Norwich. Joe Rolls getting the goal for Cardiff, but Marlon Pack made matters a nightmare for Cardiff as he got himself sent off. Actually went with a 2-2 draw. Not too shabby, boys. Not too shabby. Wayne Rooney FC, they lost to Rotherham, of course. Jamie Lindsay on the score sheet for Rotherham as they took 3 points. Actually, went with a 2-0 win for Derby. Shame on me. Meanwhile, Watford 2-0 winners over Huddersfield. Tom Cleverley and Joe Pedro on the score sheet again. It's been a while since he scored. So good result for them. Actually went with a 2-0 win for Watford, so not too shabby. Forest against Millwall ended up as a 3-1, and I got that one bang on the nose as well. Good result for Forest as they're starting to grind away. Sammy over here with a couple of goals. Ryan Yates and Ben Thompson for Millwall as they also got themselves a goal, but too little too late. Meanwhile, Swansea did get themselves a win with a 2-0 win over Barnsley. Ben Cambango and Jamal Lowe, who's on free form at the moment, got them the win. I actually went bold and went with Barnsley. Shame on me. And then wrapping it up there, Brentford against Reading, or Reading against Brentford, was postponed. As you can see, I did pretty shitty, my friends. Pretty shitty indeed. I got myself 2, which is not great. Norwich are leading the charge. 4 points clear over Swansea, with a 4 points clearance over Bournemouth, of course. They played all the same amount of games. Brentford have 2 games in hand, win both of them, and then guess what? They could be up into second spot. That's where I think those top 4 are at least nailed on for playoffs. I think there's 2 spots up for grabs really, and that is 5th and 6th. I'm not convinced about Watford just yet, and I don't think about Reading either. I'm not too sure really about Bournemouth. I think they will. I think they could. They could easily fall down into a messy sort of scramble. But to be honest with you, I think they'll be good enough to be playoffs. And then, of course, 2 spots remain, and right now, Rovers 7 points adrift of that, and they've actually played the game more, so it's not pretty for Rovers. At the foot of the table, Wycombe, Derby, Rotherham going down. Is that legit? That is legit. Sheffield Wednesday actually on 19 points, of course. This is a bit of a weird one. So they're actually level on points with Rotherham, but goal difference and goal points and all that kind of stuff in their favour. So as of right now, Derby, Wayne Rooney's Derby going down, but of course, just a win away from changing it all up again. Let's take a look at, of course, your boys, of course, your Pickaroonies, of course, live action prediction league. Let's go back to that. If you're with me, you're in the shit-face gang. 4 to 7 straight-face club at 8+. You're in the top bins. Ivan Stringer did all right. Game Charlie not too shabby either. Hey, Nathan Eva also kicked ass and took some names. Well done, of course, to him. Yannick Buster did bits. Roberto Hoss did poop. Thanks. It's all right. It's all right. Max Shangadi also did shocking. Shaded also did shocking, but it's all right. Ultra Omamura, you did shit. Tom Stainer also did shit, but we're all right. We're all right. James Lester, not Chester. He did all right. Okay, didn't do okay. Miniaka did shite. Alex Weller did bits. Omax Kabir also did very, very well. And the returning Cody Gaho did shite, but it's okay. Mitchell Shone, you also did poop. Olaji Ojo, you also did. You did all right. Not too bad, actually. Yogi Bjackerson also had a shocker. Damien Heaven, he was in heaven. Vincent Hong was shite. Russell Frost also had a nightmare. Jamie Gold had a poop. Did he? Scoop? Did he? I think that's it. Of course, this is the leaderboard. If your name's Ultra Omamura, don't even look at it. Don't even bother looking at it. But if your name is, of course, Nathan Heaven, or Nathan Heaver, or Damien Heaven, take a bloody bow. Look at those kingpins. They are your kingpins. Give them the respect that respect is due. Of course, they're kingpins as of right now. Let's take a look at your overall leaderboard. Your kingpin remains, or still is, I think. There's no change. It's Shane O'Donnell with a 67% success rate. Gaming Charlie is level on points, of course. Gaming Charlie, what did you do? What did you do? Did you have the weekend off? No, you had 4. Shane O'Donnell had 3. So you made up ground on him. Russell Frosto is in 3rd spot. Roberto Hoss is in 4th. Alex Weller is in your top 5. Vincent Hong not too far away either. And then look at this, the supporting Patreon pack. I do appreciate that, guys. I do appreciate your support for the channel as of right now. So let's kick it on further. Of course, full match week, apparently. I think there's one postponement, and we'll take a look at that one first. It is Sheffield Wednesday against Wycombe, but you never know. It might go ahead. We've seen some magical weird shit going on. Fixtures get rearranged, postponed, lastminute.com. You just don't know. But we're going to talk about it anyway. They played each other in the past 5 times. 3 was for Wednesday, 1 win for Wycombe, and 1 draw, of course. They played last time out at Hillsborough back in 2012. In May, it was a 2-0 win for Sheffield Wednesday. Back in League 1, Michael Antonio on the score sheet. Now Ranger, goodness gracious me, for Sheffield Wednesday. Of course, they played earlier in the season. It was a 1-0 win for Wycombe. That was back in October. David Wheeler on the score sheet for Wycombe. Heading into this, Sheffield Wednesday unbeaten the last 5 games, picking up 4 wins and a draw. On the flip side, just 1 defeat the past 3 games for Wycombe. The 1 defeat was against Middlesbrough, of course. Back-to-back home wins, beating Cardiff and also beating Preston in the Cup. Look at the situation out in the bookies on this one then, shall we? What do we have going on in the Championship? Of course, there's no bookies. It's just Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah, it's postponed. Of course, if Wednesday would to have played this game and won, they would have been a little bit closer to 20th spot. As for Wycombe, they come into sit in 24th, and with them, there wouldn't have been any movement whatsoever. And if this game was to go ahead, I would have went with Sheffield Wednesday with a 1-0 win in the end. Next, we have Wayne Rooney FC up against Bournemouth. Of course, played each other in the past 6 times, 4 wins for Derby, nothing for Bournemouth, and 2 draws, of course. But the last time out at Pride Park was a 2-0 win for Derby. That's back in September 2014. Will Hughes and Chris Martin on the score sheet for Derby. Lee Camp got himself off for Bournemouth. Of course, they played already this season back in Bournemouth. It was a 1-1 draw back in October 2020 or October last year. Graham Shinney on the score sheet with Rigo Wilkrami on the score sheet for Bournemouth as they took the point and carried on. Meanwhile, Derby undefeated in the last 6 matches against Bournemouth. They also failed to score, though, Derby in 5 of the last 7 matches in the Championship. Also failed to win 14 last 15 home matches as well. They come into this, though, Derby just 1 win the past 5 games. That 1 was against Birmingham, of course, at St Andrews. On the flip side, just 1 defeat the past 4 games for Bournemouth. That 1 defeat was against Luton, of course, last time around, of course. Have a look at the bookies on this one then, shall we? What do we have? Derby 11-4 for the W, 23-10 is your draw, 21-20 is your Bournemouth. Bournemouth come to this in 3rd, and with them, they will remain in 3rd at the very least. Of course, if they were to lose and anyone else around them gets the win, they could drop down as low as 6th in the table. That's how tight it is at the moment. As for their opposition, Derby are in 23rd spot, but with them, they could go to that 21st spot and get out of the drop zone in the end. I think they'll get at least a point out of this one, Derby, as to continue a bit of a woeful start for Wayne Rooney as permanent manager, but it's okay. Still early days. Kicking it further, though, we have Reading up against Coventry. Played in the past 20 times, 7 wins for Reading, 6 wins for Coventry, and 7 draws, of course. But the last 6 sees 2 for Reading, 1 for Coventry, and 3 draws. Last time out at the Matchday was back in February 2012. Jimmy Kebe on the score with Jason Roberts of course, ex-Rover as well. However, they did play each other at St Andrews, aka at Coventry, earlier in the campaign. Back in October, as a 3-2 win for Coventry. Gustavo Hamer, Matt Godden, and Sam McCullum on the score sheet. With Lucas Jow and George Pushkas on the score sheet for Reading, as they got nothing out of it. Reading kept clean sheet in the last 3 matches at home against Coventry in all competitions, where they are also undefeated in the last 5 matches against Coventry at home. Heading into this, though, Reading just 1 defeat the past 4 games, and 1 defeat was against Luton in the FA Cup. Just 1 win the past 5 games for Coventry. That one was against Millwall, of course, a couple of games back. Look at the situation out in the bookies on this one. Then what do we have on this? We have Reading 11-10 for the double, 5-2 is draw, 23-10 is your Coventry. Of course, Coventry coming to this in 17th spot, but a win for them, they could go as high as 15th. Reading are in 6th. A win for them, they could go 3rd in the table if they were to get to big victorious. I think they might nick this one. I think they'll nick something out of it with a 1-1 draw. Coventry are hard to beat these days. We'll have to wait and see. Next up, we have Rovers up against Swansea. Now, I'm pro Rovers. Of course, I am pro Rovers, but I don't feel good about this game. Played each other 40 times past, 20 wins for Rovers, 14 wins for Swansea, and 6 draws. But the last six, 1 win for Rovers, 2 for Swansea, and 3 draws. We've already played each other in Wales. We'll talk about that in a minute, but last time around at E was back in February 2020. There's a 2-2 draw with Gallagher on the score sheet, Bradley Johnson as well, Ryan Brewster and Andre Ayew on the score sheet for Swansea. Of course, we played earlier in Wales. There was a 2-0 win for Swansea, Ben Kambango and Andre Ayew on the score sheet. Swansea have actually kept clean sheet in 7 last 9 matches in the Championship. Rovers actually scored at least 2 goals in the last 4 home matches against Swansea in all comps. There's just 1 win in the past 6 games for Rovers. That 1 win was against Birmingham. On the flip side, Swansea winning 5 of the past 6 games. Their only hiccup was a draw against Reading. Of course, bookies odds on this one, we have 11-8 for Rovers, 9-4 short, 2-1 is your Swansea. Swansea coming to this in a 2nd spot, and a win for them. They can't go top, but a win for them. Regardless of what goes on, they will remain 2nd in the table. Rovers are in 11th, and a win for them. They could go as high as 7th. That's the only thing going for Rovers right now. A win for this, you could go 7th. Everything else kind of was laid on the plate. Middlesbrough lost, Stoke drew. I think Bristol City they won. They got themselves back into it. Barnsley, of course, also lost. So yeah, win this and we're back in, I'd say. I've gone with a 0-0. I don't really. That's going to do anyone any favours whatsoever. I think it's going to be a draw. I'm going to have exclusive, extensive coverage of this game, a preview of it. Maybe a watch along. I'm supposed to go to the dentist. I'm trying to get out of it. We'll have to wait and see if that goes ahead or not. If I can get it postponed, my dentist, we'll have a watch along. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see. Next up, Watford up against Barnsley. Of course, played each other in the past. How many times? I'll tell you, they've played each other 40 times, 16 wins for Watford, 13 wins for Barnsley, and 11 draws, of course. But the last 6, he's 4 for Watford, 2 for Barnsley, no draws. Last time out, Vicarage Rose back in 2014. In March, 3-0 win. Christian Bataccio, Troy Deeney, and Alexander Merkel on the score sheet for Watford. However, they did play each other at Oakwell earlier in the campaign. It was a 1-0 win for Barnsley back in October with Alex Mowat with a goal. He might be on the move with this transfer window. Don't know if it's going to go ahead or not. Watford actually won their last 5 home matches against Barnsley. They come into this, Watford just 2 wins the past 6 games. One of those was last round against Huddersfield. Meanwhile, Barnsley coming to this, 2 defeats in the past 5 games for them. Of course, last time around they did lose to Swansea 2-0 over at Oakwell. Of course, heading into this, Watford 64 for the W, 40-5 is your draw, 41 is your Barnsley. Barnsley coming to this in 10th, and for them they could actually go as high as 7th in the table. Watford are actually in 5th, and for them they could actually go as high as 3rd in the table. I've gone with Watford, I think, to take this one with a 2-0 win, which will put a bit of a nasty taste in my mouth. I hope Barnsley get something out of it. I really do. They've been my dark horses this season. Very, very surprised to see them up this high in the table. So yeah, we'll have to see how that pans out. Next up we have Rotherham up against Stoke. Of course, played each other in the past. How many times? Played each other 35 times, 13 wins apiece and 9 draws. But the last 6 sees 1 for Rotherham, 2 for Stoke, and 3 draws. Last time out, Rotherham was a 2-2 draw back in September 2018. Ryan Manick from the penalty spot, Richard Towell as well, Tom Ince and Bojan getting the goals. Where's Bojan these days? Of course, what's tipped to be the next best thing. He was at Stoke, and he plays for Montreal Impact. Spanish football, Montreal Impact. Only still 30, still got a bit of legs left in them bad boys. Of course, heading into this, Stoke have actually drawn their last 4 away matches in the Championship, and whereas Rotherham undefeated in their last 5 home matches against Stoke. They also played earlier in the campaign as a 1-0 win for Stoke at the Bet365 Stadium, of course. Heading into this, though, Stoke without a win in 6 games. Of course, on the flip side, 2 wins in the past 6 games for Rotherham. So 2 teams looking for a win. I've got no odds on this one. Of course, we're going to have to just wait and see. Rotherham coming into this in 26th spot, but a win for them, they could actually go as high as 21st. Stoke coming in this in 8th, and win for them, they could go as high as 7th in the bloody league. That's right. I've gone with, on this one, what have I gone with? I've gone with a 1-0 win for Rotherham. Yes, I have, to continue a pretty shitty run for Stoke, even though they were the better side against Rovers the other day. Next we have High Flyers Norwich up against Bristol City. They played each other 42 times to pass. 23 wins for the Canaries, 11 wins for the Robins, and 8 draws, of course. But the last 6 sees 3 for Norwich, nothing for Bristol City, and 3 draws. Last time out at the Carrow Rovers back in February 2019. Norwich came out on top with a 3-2 win. Kenny McLean with a couple of goals there. Ben Godfrey as well. Callum O'Dowda and Jamie Patterson on score sheet for Bristol City. Norwich undefeated in 18 last 20 matches in the Championship, whereas Bristol City have actually lost the last 3 on the road. Of course, they played each other at Thrashton Gate earlier in the season. It was a 3-1 win for Norwich. But heading into this, Norwich just one defeat the past 6 games. That one defeat was against Watford. On the flip side, 3 wins in the past 4 games for Bristol City, and they've also had back-to-back wins in the 2021, of course. Look at the bookies odds on this one then, shall we? Norwich are actually 7-4 on for the victory. 3-1 is your draw. 9-2 is your Bristol City. Bristol City coming in 9th in a win for them. They could actually go as high as 7th. Norwich are top, and they will be top no matter what goes on this time around. They get another win here with a 2-0 win and a clean sheet to boot. Get in there and, of course, continue their high-flying campaign. Next up, we have Cardiff up against QPR. Played each other 59 times in the past. 19 wins for Cardiff, 29 wins for QPR, and 11 draws, of course. But the last 6 sees 2 for Cardiff, 4 for QPR, and no draws. Last time out in Wales was a 3-0 win for Cardiff. That was back in October 2019. Sean Morrison, Marlon Pack, Callum Patterson as well. However, they did play each other at Loftus Road back in October. It was a 3-2 win for QPR. Ilish Chair, Todd Cape, and Dominic Ball on the score sheet with Joe Rolls getting a couple of goals for Cardiff. Heading into this, Cardiff actually lost their last 4 matches in the Championship. Also conceded at least 2 goals in the last 6. They come into this just 1 win in the past 5 games. That 1 win was against Cardiff coming to this 5 defeats on the spin. Absolutely horrific form, and I think it's going to cost a man his job if he can't get a win this week in any of these next 2 double matches. Of course, just 1 win in the past 5 games for QPR. That 1 was against Luton last time around. Of course, look at the situation out in the bookies on this one. What do we have? We have 11-10 for Cardiff, 25 draw, 5-2 is your QPR. QPR coming in this in 20th in a win for them. They could actually go as high as 16th, whereas Cardiff are in 15th in a win for them. They could go as high as 13th in the table. Oh yes, Cardiff will nick this one with a 2-1 win and maybe just prevent the sack from Neil Harris. Next up we have Brentford taking on, of course, Luton Town. Are they going down? Heck no. Of course, played each other 38 times in the past. 15 wins for Brentford, 14 wins for Luton, and 9 draws. But the last 6 is 4 for Brentford, 2 for Luton, and no draws. Of course, they played each other at Brentford last season in the Royal Stadium. It was a 7-0 win for Brentford. They don't want that again. Brian Mbembo on the score sheet, Ollie Watkins, Matthias Jensen, Josh Da Silva with a hat-trick, and Said Barama as well. They did play each other at Kenilworth Road earlier in this campaign. It was a 3-0 win for Brentford. Rico Henry, Ivan Toney, and Marcus Force on the score sheet. Brentford undefeated in the last 15 matches in the Championship, and they've also scored at least 2 goals in the last 3. They come to this though, Brentford winning 4 of the past 5 games. Their only hiccup was a 2-0 loss to Spurs in the League Cup. Meanwhile, just 1 defeat the past 4 games for Luton, and 1 defeat was against QPR in the league. Of course, 3 wins out of the past 4 games ain't too shabby. Brentford 7-4 for the W, 14-5 is draw, 5-1 is your Luton. Luton coming to this in 12th in a win for them. They could go as high as 7th in the table. Brentford are in 4th in a win for them. They could go 3rd in the table. They'll get the win here. Brentford with a 3-0 win, convincing one, and that. Next up we have Huddersfield Town up against Millwall. Played each other in the past 42 times, 20 wins for Huddersfield, 15 wins for Millwall, and 7 draws. But the last 6, he's 4 for Huddersfield, 1 for Millwall, and 1 draw. Last time out at Huddersfield was a 1-1 draw back in September 2019. Fraser Campbell on the score sheet for Huddersfield, Matt Smith on the score sheet for Millwall. Shane Ferguson got himself sent off. However, they played each other in London earlier in the campaign, back at the Den, back in October, of course. Josh Corona, Pippa, and Lewis O'Brien on the score sheet for Huddersfield in a 3-0 win on the road. Millwall have actually failed to win 14 last 15 matches in the Championship, and guess what? Rowett is on the cusps of getting the boot as well. Heading into this though, just 1 win in the past 5 games for Millwall. That 1 was against Boreham Wood in the FA Cup. On the flip side, Huddersfield just 1 win in the past 5 games to them. That 1 was against Blackburn Rovers. We don't want to talk about that. Of course, look at the situation out in the bookies on this one then, shall we? Huddersfield 9-5 for the W, 23-10 is your draw, 29-20 is your Millwall. Millwall coming to this in 16th spot at the moment and a win for them. They could go 15th. Huddersfield are actually in 14th spot at the moment and a win for them. They could go 10th in the league, and that's right, getting pushed up towards the top of the table. I've gone with a 2-1 win for Huddersfield on this one to take the 3 points and get the season back on track. Next up, where do we have this one? This looks like a Karanka derby, I think. Of course, not Forest up against Middlesbrough, of course. Played each other in the past. I'm sure there's a better derby than that. Rudy Gestead derby, Lewis Graben derby, I think. Who else? Who else is in that derby? But anyway, played each other in the past 88 times, 29 wins for Forest, 25 wins for Borough, and 34 draws, of course. But the last 62 wins apiece and 2 draws, of course. Last time out at Forest was a 1-1 draw, and of course, that was back in December 2019. Ryan Yates on the score sheet, Patrick McNair from the penalty spot, giving a points split right down the middle. Of course, they played each other earlier in the campaign. Back in October, was a 1-0 win for Borough. Marvin Johnson on the score sheet for Warnock's boys in a 1-0 win. Forest undefeated in the last 6 matches in the Championship, and are looking very, very good about it, winning 3 on the spin in all comps, whereas Middlesbrough just 1 win the past 4 games. That 1 was against Wickham, of course, back in a couple of games back. Look at the situation out of the bookies on this one there, shall we? 8-5 for Forest, 21-10 is your draw, 15-8 is your Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough coming to this in 7th spot and a win for them. They'll remain in 7th spot no matter what. Forest are on 19th spot and a win for them. They could go as high as 16th in the league. It's over in Forest. I think they'll get this one with a 2-1 win in the end to make it 4 wins on the spin. Chris Hughton campaign is back on track and wrapping it up. It'll be Birmingham up against Preston off end at St Andrews. These games are split from Tuesday and to Wednesday. Played 90 times in the past, 33 wins for Birmingham, 36 wins for Deepdale or North End, 21 draws, of course. But the last 6, these 2 for Birmingham, 3 for Preston, and 1 draw. Of course, last time out in St Andrews was 1-0 for Preston. That was back in September 2019. Sean Maguire on the score sheet for Preston. Last time out, of course, they played each other earlier in the campaign at Deepdale. It was back in October, and it was a 2-1 win for Birmingham, of course. Riley McCree on the score sheet, Gary Gardner as well. Jaden Stockley get the 1 goal for Preston. Birmingham have actually lost their last 5 home matches in the Championship. Preston have actually conceded at least 2 goals in 6 of the last 7 away. 3 away defeats on the spin for 3 matches on the spin lost for Preston. Just 1 win in the past 6 games for Birmingham. 2 teams desperate for some points at the moment. Of course, Birmingham 13-8 for the W. 13-8 is also your Preston. 23-10 is your draw. Birmingham coming into in 18th spot and a win for them. They could go 15th. Preston are in 13th spot and a moment and a win for them. They could go as high as 10th in the table. Of course, could go either way. I'm going with a 1-0 win for Preston with the Money Boys. Ben Whiteman to score his first goal. That's what I've put in down there for this week's matches. Of course, we'll have another one, of course, on Wednesday/Thursday, and it probably will be live. Of course, this is the table as it would look if my picks coming in. It'll show Norwich City clear as daylight, 6 points clear over Swansea City in second. Brentford, Bournemouth, Watford, and Reading make up your top 6. Wickham, Derby, Rotherham going down as it stands. And that's what I think will happen in this match. Pick, of course. Be sure to get your picks in nice and early for this to get yourself back in the old prediction league. But if not, if you don't want to do the prediction league, just do it just for fun. But that's all I've got for you today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that thumbs up. And if you're new, smash your subscribe and keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers latest Championship related world football. We're going to know here under one roof. Make sure you bang the little bell so you don't miss a beat. And of course, we'll be back again, of course, with some more predictions for the Championship midweek. And it might be live. And again, if you want to support the channel in another way, check out that link down below. Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. Of course, we're on Patreon if you want to support the channel in another way. Patreon.com/Roverseas. But until then, though, come on, Rovers, do the unthinkable, and let's break this league open. And of course, bring new life into the Ewood Park campaign. But anyway, we'll look forward to that match Tuesday. Rovers, Swansea. Until then, though, I'm out of it.